Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another live streaming of basic transfer pricing. Before everything else, before our discussions and lectures, I would like to say thank you po sa ating mga subscribers. Umabot na po tayo ng 453 subscribers. So, thank you very much. And tonight, our topic would be about AgraCity Ltd and Her Majesty the Queen. Sinong Queen ito? The Canadian Revenue Agency, no? Sa Canada po ito na case na to. And also, Saskatchewan Ltd and Her Majesty the Queen. Kasi itong Saskatchewan at saka yung AgraCity related parties, no? So pareho silang nag-appeal doon sa judgment po ng case, kaya nag-appeal sila pareho. No? Okay. So, but ano ba itong overview muna tayo dito sa itong case na to? Itong AgraCity Ltd and versus the Queen, no? This is about the sale and purchase ng herbicide, itong ginagamit ng mga farmers, clear out, no, na glyphosate-based herbicides na ginagamit po ng mga farmers sa Canada, no? Because under their program, meron silang tinatawag na OUI program. Ito yung gagawin or parang privilege, no, ng mga farmers na makapag-import sila ng sarili nilang gamit ng mga herbicides para sa kanilang farming. But before that, merong associations yung Farmers of North America, no? Na yun yung pinaka-association po ng mga farmers. No? At mayroon siyang mga purpose kung bakit magkaroon ka ng membership dito at ano yung magagawa mo, no? Okay. So, itong Farmers of North America, isa siyang membership services-based organization. Siguro sa atin, para siyang cooperative, no? Sa kanilang association siya. At sino yung founder nito? Si James Mann, isang business alliance ng farmers across Canada. At sa case na to, dalawa sila ng kanyang kapatid, si Jason Mann, yun yung involved dito sa case, no? Kung paano nila ginawa na nagkaroon ng transfer pricing case. At ang issue po dito, tatlo. Yung transfer pricing adjustment, recharacterization ng transactions, at saka yung sham transactions, no? So, namili kasi ako ng mga cases na i-discuss, pero sunod-sunod dito sa basic transfer pricing para mas maintindihan natin ang concept and application ng arm's length principle. At napili ko itong AgraCity kasi yung bandang huli inabandon na yung, nag-descend na yung CRA dito sa Saskatchewan, no? Ang natira na issue dito yung sa AgraCity. Bakit ko ito napili? Because thoroughly diniscuss po dito sa case na to kung anong ibig sabihin ng sham transactions, anong ibig sabihin ng transfer pricing adjustments, at saka yung recharacterization po ng business transactions. No? So yun po yung matutunan natin dito sa kaso na ito. No, but before that, bago ko i-discuss sa inyo yung decision dito sa case, of course, pag-usapan muna natin ano ba yung nangyari dito sa transactions na to. At nagkaroon ng tatlong issues. Ano nga yung issue? Yung transfer pricing adjustment, pinapa-adjust yung income ng isang related party transactions at pinapa-tax doon sa isang related party. No? Kasi ang sabi nila, wala naman talaga siyang income. Income ito ng ganitong corporation, ginawa lang siyang parang shell companies. No? And then, kung anong ibig sabihin ng sham transactions at bakit nagkaroon ng sham transactions. Naririnig ba, Hari? Okay. Shout out. Wala pang shout out?
Wala pa pong shout out.
Ilan yung viewers?
May viewers po na 6 viewers.
Okay. And then, yung recharacterization ng business transactions. Usually, ngayon sa mga cases in transfer pricing, usually ito na yung mga issues, no, na karamihan di-decide ng courts, bukod pa doon sa intangibles. Kasi yung issue sa intangibles, yun ang pinakamarami, no? Yun yung case ng Coca-Cola na 5 times tayo ng live stream doon, no? Case talaga yun ng intangibles. Parang nagkulang sila ng bayad sa intangibles kasi na-divert dun sa ibang companies. Napakasimple lang naman ng kanyang functions, pero na dun sa kanya niya yung income, no? So, anong ginawa ng US, IRS, binalik doon sa company, which is the owner of the intangibles. Doon, tinax yung ibang income, inadjust yung income. So, ito namang AgraCity, herbicides ang product involved dito, no? At makikita ninyo talaga paano, how this case happened, paano siya na-operate. Sabi ko sa inyo na, kaya I like transfer pricing kasi parang work of the genius siya na talagang yung ginawa ng mga scheme talagang pinag-iisipan, no? Kaya kung magbasa ka ng mga transfer pricing cases, talagang malalim siya because may yung mga steps na ginagawa dito talaga pinag-iisipan, no? So, what is the transaction in question? So, balikan po natin. Balikan po natin kung papaano nagkaroon ng mga issues at saka nagkaroon ng findings itong company na to. Okay. Okay. Ito yung transactions, no? Okay. Yun yung sabi ko sa inyo na may sinasabi na sila na OUI program, yung on-use import, no? Itong OUI program na to sa mga farmers, ginawa nila, it was established to allow Canadian users to import designated pesticides themselves for their own use, no? Pwede silang mag-import ng mga pesticides kasi nga mga farmers sila na gagamitin nila sa pagpa-farming, pwede silang mag-import, no? So, ito yung OUI program. It was aimed at ensuring Canadian agricultural producers would have access to competitively priced pesticides by giving them potential access to lower-priced foreign pesticides that are chemically equivalent to Canadian pesticides, thereby giving them access to a larger range of regulated products that the Canadian market provides at any time in the agricultural sector. So, anong purpose or objective nitong OUI program? Para magkaroon ng competitive price dito sa herbicides na ginagamit ng mga farmer. In short, pinopromote nila yung farming, no? Only products that could be shown to be equivalent to products already registered in Canada could be approved, no? So, yung mga products lang na equivalent products na registered na sa Canada, kasi stricto ang importation ng Canada, no? Pag nag-import ka doon ng nasa Canada ka, then mag-i-import ka ng mga products, napakahigpit, no? Kaya ito yung OUI program, on-use import ito. Parang sarili mong gamit, hindi mo siya ibebenta, no? So, how this transfer pricing na mga issues, how this happens, no? So, the OUI program has since been replaced with the Growers Request on-use program. So, yung OUI, ginawa na siyang no? Grower Request on-use program. So, bakit sila nag-i-import? Hindi para pambenta. Ano yung reason na mag-i-import sila panggamit doon sa farmer nila. Kaya nga on use, no? So the OUI program was a two-step process. First, individuals or a user commodity group or sponsor for such persons applied to have a foreign product accepted in the OUI program. Sinong regulate nitong OUI program? The government of Canada. No? At this stage, the applicant had to provide detailed technical chemical analysis of both the foreign and Canadian registered products. Kasi nga sabi natin, ang i-approve lang dito sa OUI program is yung product na approved na, same or similar product na approved na nasa Canada na. No? Okay. So, anong gagawin? The applicant had to provide detailed technical chemical analysis of both the foreign and Canadian registered products. Kasi magkukompare ka sa dalawang product, dapat similar sila. No? Approved na. So, sufficient to establish their chemical equivalency, both as to the active ingredient and the formula. No? So, sa mga ganyan na mga chemical products, may formula. At saka meron sila tinatawag na active ingredients. No? So, the applicant was required to submit a copy of the label. No? Kasi ano ba yung, kahit po yung label, this is regulated ha. Kasi kagaya ng mga foods, no? Foods and Drug Administration dito sa Pilipinas natin. Yung label pa lang mismo na dinalagay natin sa mga product natin, dapat approve yan ng FDA or Food and Drug Administration. Ganyan nun din sa kanila. Kaya ano i-submit mo pag nag-pa-approve ka ng product? The label. Why? Because may certain requirements sila doon sa label na nakalagay doon kung ano yung mga ingredients. No? So, the label for the foreign registered product and the draft label for the equivalent Canadian registered product. Kasi i-compare mo. The word label is a misnomer. These are extensive booklets or brochures approved by the FDA. Akala mo yung label lang yun na label na dinidikit, no? Pero although yung sabi kong label na dinidikit, sa product mismo, regulated din yan. Kasi may mga information required na nandun sa label. Makikita mo na kaagad, no? Just like kung ilang mga milligrams na mga composition yung nadyan, tapos yung expiry, yung name ng manufacturer, no? The word label is a misnomer because these are intensive booklets or brochure approved by the FDA or PMRA, yung sa pesticide ito, no? Yung regulating agency, that are capable of being affixed to its product container in adhesive sleeves. The Canadian labels had to comply with Canadian labeling requirements under all applicable federal legislation. Yung label requirements ng products. In the second step, each farmer was required to obtain approval for its import from the PMRA. Actual users or groups of users applied for individual import permits to bring a specified volume of the product into Canada for a specified use at a specified time on a specified property. No? So, yun na yung next step na pag nag-enroll ka na doon sa on-use import na program. Yung second step mo, yung first step, ipa-evaluate mo. Yung second step na, may approval ka na from the pesticides regulatory authority nila. So, actual users or group of users may bring specified volume of the product into Canada for specified use at a specified time on a specified property. Kasi on use nga, so hindi po siya pwedeng ibenta, no? Such a permit allowed them to bring it into Canada through customs. Dadaan siya sa customs. Kaya nga import eh. Individual users were required to obtain an import permit for its importation, and the product to be imported had to be separately packaged, identified, and labeled as belonging to the particular user, fully comply with the specific detailed terms of the permit. No? So the PMRA inspectors audited OUI importers to verify invoices, permits, storage, and use, including time of use, to ensure strict compliance with the import permits. No? Kasi ang purpose ng import dito, hindi ibenta, kung hindi para gamitin lang, no? So the PMRA officials also reviewed FNAs, no? Farmers in North America's publications to ensure FNA as a Canadian corporation was only viewed by PMRA as promoting the availability of clear out for import under the OUI program and not promoting the sale of clear out, no? So hindi siya binibenta. Ang purpose is gagamitin, no? So while it appears that the OUI program may have initially anticipated individual farmers, each using their own vehicles to personally purchase and collect their products in the US and to drive it through customs and into Canada themselves, the PMRA in the case of clear out permitted the use of independent tracking companies using third-party customs brokers to collect all of the individual purchases by FNA members each season. By picking up and importing on behalf of each farmer their individually segregated and labeled containers of clear out and delivering those to them at their farm, all as arranged by FNA as the purchaser agent with the US suppliers, the tracking companies, and customs brokers, and others. So, dito sa arrangement nila, itong farmer of North America, siya yung nagpa-facilitate doon ng importation. Pero, yung permit, bawat farmers may permit. Ang association, nag-a-accommodate lang, no? Na-accommodate lang niya yung importation, tumutulong lang siya. So prior to clear out ito po yung pangalan ng herbicides, no? Being accepted into the OUI program by the PMRA in February or March of 2005. Ang involved po dito sa case na to is a case 2007 and 2008, no? So, yan, ni-reassess yung AgraCity for its 2007 and 2008 na taxable year, no? Okay. Prior to clear out being accepted into the OUI program by the PMRA in February or March of 2005, no? So you can just imagine, no, kung ano yung ginagawa nila 2005 pa, but they were assessed only noong 2007 and 2008. None of these products ever got to the second stage of actual importation, no? So wala actual importation. This is because Canadian markets promptly recognized the price discipline mechanics imposed by acceptance into the OUI program, no? That is, Canadian prices of the Canadian registered equivalent products dropped to more closely align with the price of the US registered equivalent product in the US market, which could then begin entering Canada under the OUI program. Yun na, kasi affected yung kanilang local, no? O kaya yung Canadian product nila na herbicides din, so affected, no? Bumaba, nag-drop yung kanyang price. That was not to be the case for clear out. Ang clear out iba naman. The PMRA received thousands of import permit. Siguro ito yung na-imagine ko na maganda yung product mo, no? So pag maganda yung na-develop mo na product, talagang maraming bibili. The PMRA received thousands of import permit, imagine that, applications in quintuplicate from Canadian farmers, virtually all being FNA members using FNA as their agent. So yung FNA, yung Farmers of North America, which is an association, yun na rin yung agent nila in importing the clear out herbicides, no? Over 4,500 applications were received in 2005 and 2006. In 2005, over 3,000 permits were issued for almost 6 million liters of clear out, no? Kaya sabi ko maganda itong product na to kasi sobrang daming demand. The PMRA Executive Director described receiving boxes of chemical equivalency application materials and of import applications by the semi-trailer truckload, no? Full at both stages of the process. So, sobrang dami. In 2005, the F&A Group grew from $1 million enterprise to a $27 million. No? So, lumaki kaagad yung F&A because sobrang dami ng ini-import nila at nagcha-charge siya ng services dun sa mga farmers. The U.S. Clear-Out F&A made available to its members allowed F&A to grow its membership base accordingly. At sobrang na ang dami nagpa-member sa F&A, Farmers of North America, kasi nga, pag member ka ng F&A, nakaka-avail ka doon sa OUI or yung own use import. No? So, malaki matitipid mo. Okay, so what is the transactions in question? Following the acceptance of Clear-Out into the OUI program, F&A Group put in place a business operation structure by which F&A would be able to promote the availability of Clear-Out under the OUI program to its members and to facilitate their purchases and importations. Ito na. Since sobrang dami na ng gumagamit ng Clear-Out na herbicides at siguro maganda siya, ang daming nagpa-member sa Farmers of North America na association. So, dumami yung members. Since ang kita noong F&A is through yung payment ng service fee kasi siya nag-accommodate. So, dumami yung income. No? Lumaki ka agad yung F&A. Okay. So, ito na ngayon si F&A. Siya na yung nagpro-promote ng availability of Clear-Out under the OUI program to its members and facilitate their purchases and importation. No? So, yun yung services na ginagawa nitong Farmers of North America na association. Siya na yung nagpa-facilitate ng importation ng Clear-Out na herbicide. No? So, following the extensive consultation and numerous meetings with the PMRA, ito yung regulatory agency ng pesticides, no? The Mans, sino yung Mans? Dito si Jason Mann at saka si, ano nung pangalan nitong dalawa? Jeffrey ba yun? At saka si Jason Mann. Magkapatid itong na-involved dito no? Sila yung mayaman sa Canada. Jason Mann at saka si James Mann, no? Sila yung magkapatid. So, ano yung structure ng F&A? Si James Mann is the founder of Farmers of North America, Inc., which was a predecessor to Farmers and Families of North America. And its F&A group, no? May group pa siya. He held a chief executive officer role in the F&A group companies. He has a Bachelor of Agriculture from the University of Saskatchewan. Si Jason Mann is the younger brother ni James, no? He completed post-secondary studies in agriculture and in chemical technology. So, dalawa yung kurso niya. Chemical technology at saka agriculture. Kasi kaya nga, they're dealing with farm products, no? Siguro mga farmers sila. He grew up on a working farm, became a farmer, became involved in custom seeding and harvesting in Canada and the U.S. before moving on to construction and real estate development in British Columbia. Biro mo, from farmer, pumunta na siya sa construction and real estate development. Alam niyo yung construction and real estate, capital intensive yan, no? Pag may ka lang 1 milyon, hindi ka pwede pumasok sa real estate, no? Kasi kapiranggot lang yan na lupa o kaya wala. Hindi ka makapag-business ng real estate, construction na 1 milyon lang yung pera mo. No? So, anong nangyari dito? He returned to work, itong si Jason Mann, with his older brother James at F&A Group in the years in question. Ano yung years in question dito? 2007 and 2008. So he was the president of AgraCity throughout the period. He became director and sole owner of AgraCity when James Mann transferred the shares to him in December 2006. So 2006, tinransfer na yung share ni James sa younger brother niya na si Jason. At tamang-tama lang, pagdating ng 2007, ito na yung under audit na sila. So this is already under the management of Jason, no? Kasi yung panahon ni James, hindi sila nag-question. Okay? Okay. Sino yung mga tao na na-involve dito? Ito si Mr. Virgin. He is a certified professional accountant, CPA, no? He holds a Bachelor of Commerce from the University of Saskatchewan. He worked at Ernst Young Regina, no? So pumasok siya sa mga big accounting firm, no? Pumasok din siya sa KPMG Saskatoon and the University of Saskatoon College of Medicine and its Central Accounting Department, no? So nasa KPMG din siya and once upon a time nasa Ernst Young. During the period in question, he was the controller of the F&A group of companies responsible for general ledgers, accounting system, preparation of financial statements, and tax compliance for all corporations controlled by James or Jason Mann. Actually, meron na kaming 7 signed agreement with clients to make a transfer pricing analysis. Kaya masasabi ko lang dito sa mga gumagawa ng transfer pricing documentation, transfer pricing analysis report, prepare yourself na pag yung ginawa mong transfer pricing analysis report, makakarating yun sa korte, talagang ipasubena ka, ipasumon ka ng korte kung how did you arrive with your transfer pricing analysis report. Why? Kasi ang i-drive out mo talaga dyan na arm's length ang dealings ng client mo, no? So, pag halimbawa na audit yan at may makita na mga findings ang BIR, pagdating na sa court, papatawag ka, ipa-explain yung trabaho mo, bakit meron kang recommendation na arm's length yung transactions, bakit during the transfer pricing audit ito na. So, you must have good explanation para hindi ka ma-charge ng violation sa practice of profession mo. Parang fraud, no? Okay. Sino naman tong Spencer Vance, no? Sila itong mga tao na nagbigay ng mga testimony nila during the hearing. Mr. Vance was the president of ALBO North America, no? Makikita nyo kung mamaya kung paano ginamit naman itong ALBO of North America sa scheme ng OUI. So for about 20 years, including the years in question, he was responsible for all functions, commercial and otherwise, across the United States and Canada. ALBO had worldwide revenues about US 1 billion, no, in the period in question, no? So dollars yan. And North America generated close to half of that. He holds a Bachelor of Science in Animal Science and Agriculture from the University of Nebraska. ALBO was the principal supplier, source for clear out sold by the New Ag Barbados in the years in question. Kasi ang ginawa nila dito, gumawa na sila ng iba't ibang companies, no? So para sa akin, para ma-exclusive nila yung distribution ng clear out, no? Si Lyle Forden naman is a farmer and business owner. He holds a degree in agriculture, science and crop farming from the University of Saskatchewan. He owns and operates family farm engaged in mixed farming of semental cattle and crops. He also worked at F&A as a member service representative and as a national member service manager in the years in question, which is 2007 and 2008. No? So makikita mo na ngayon kung paano yung mga scheme. Kaya maganda ang trial sa Canada. Bakit? Kasi ito yung nangyari, ito yung ginawa ng company. Nilalagyan nila ng tao yan. Kaya ma-pinpoint mo na ngayon at magkaroon ka na ng picture in your mind. Sino itong nagpapatakbo sa companies na to at ano yung mga ginawa nila. Kasi sila yung nagpapatakbo. So ang ibig sabihin lang, kung ano man yung mga transactions na nangyayari, sila nag-a-approve, sila yung nag-represent, no? So itong si Lyle Forden, nagiging National Members Service Manager siya in the years in question, no? Kasi bakit importante na yung National Member Service Manager? Kasi itong F&A, Farmers of North America, service company siya, at ang isang source of income niya dito is the membership fee ng mga members. And you can just imagine na sobrang dami ng members nito, no, na nagbabayad ng membership fee sa FNA, no? So Mr. Kilbride, Scott Kilbride, is a fourth-generation family farmer with a crop science degree from the University of Guelph. In the years in question, he operated his family farm through their acres in Wallaceburg, Ontario. He was a FNA member and a purchaser of Clear Out from New Agco, Barbados. Itong New Agco, Barbados, bagong company naman ito na pinagawa ni Mr. James Mann, no? Tingnan natin kung later kung ano yung participation ng New Agco Barbados at saka itong kay Albo, no, na corporation. Ito yung president niya, si Spencer Vance, no? Okay. Si Ashley Skinner, meron siyang contract work with FNA, Farmers of North America, and AgraCity before and during the period in question, 2007 and 2008, doing general consulting work on member and membership issues, including the FNA newsletter. So siya yung in charge. He was not involved in business decision-making or in the management of any FNA group companies. Angela Spence. Ano naman yung ano ni Angela Spence dito? Engineering technologist, no? City of Courtenay, British Columbia. Worked for the FNA group in the years in question as a MSR, no? Yung members service representative, and did related work for AgraCity, no? Si Karen Dodds naman, siya yung executive director ng Pest Management Regulatory Agency, kasi nga yung clear out na herbicides is a regulated item, no, or product sa Health Canada, responsible for the regulation of pesticides throughout the country, no? Si Karen Dodds. She holds a BS and MS Science and PhD in biology, chemistry and microbiology from the University of Waterloo and the University of Guelph. Following her time at Health Canada, she went on to be the Assistant Deputy Minister of the Science and Technology branch at Environmental Canada, no? Si Karen Makula, siya yung Director General of Compliance and Laboratory Services, no, dito sa Pest Management Regulatory Agency. Bob Friesen, President of Canadian Federation of Agriculture, or CFA, in the years in question. He had previously been its Vice President. CFA is a federation of provincial agricultural organizations and commodity organizations which operates as Canadian agricultural umbrella, quasi-lobbying group that works with the Canadian government. He was a member of the PMRA's own use import task force in the years in question. He handles government relations for the FNA. No? So, mayroon ng task force itong on use import. No? So, ibig sabihin talagang tinutukan na siya ng gobyerno. All of the material witnesses were intelligent, educated, and clear-spoken. They gave credible evidence. They gave overall reliable evidence, usually making it clear where their understanding, perception, or knowledge of particular aspect or details was limited, no? Given their role in the organization or the transactions. Okay. Ito naman yung court, yun yung sa side ng taxpayer or yung AgraCity. Okay. The court heard from the following expert witnesses. May mga kinuha na sila na expert witnesses. No? Anong role ng expert witnesses? Yung expert witnesses, wala siyang papanigan. No? Magbibigay lang siya ng opinion related to the case, pero wala siyang papanigan. Okay. Sir Trevor Carmichael, no? Attorney at law in Barbados and is an expert in Barbados corporate law. No? Bakit? Kasi itong ginawa nila na Albo at saka yung Barbados, sa Barbados yan. Kaya meron silang, itong si Brad Rolf, ito yung, ito si Carmichael, siya yung attorney at law in Barbados at alam niya yung Barbados corporate law. No? Kaya magtitestify siya sa case. Brad Rolf, partner at Grant Thornton, no? Where he is economist specializing in transfer pricing. No? Dr. Morris Doddsey is a transfer pricing economist specialist, no? Who testified as an expert economist in transfer pricing. He's a partner and chief economist at Deloitte. He holds a bachelor in economics, a master in finance and accounting, and a doctorate in economic sciences from the University of Novi Sad in Serbia. So, transfer pricing economist. Oliver Rogerson, expert in the economic analysis of transfer pricing. Mr. Rogerson holds a master's degree in economics from Wilfrid Laurier University and a bachelor level degree in economics from Royal Military College. Mr. Rogerson has 18 years of experiences as a transfer pricing economist at CRA, where for 13 years he was the chief economist in the International Tax Division and for 5 years was an economist in that division. He was a member of the CRA's Transfer Pricing Review Committee. So ito si Oliver, no? While he was at the CRA, Mr. Rogerson was the Canadian delegates to the OECD. Okay. So si Rogerson, delegate siya sa OECD Working Party 6. No? So sila yung responsible for updating and maintaining the transfer pricing guidelines, which are the extended commentary to Article 9 of the OECD Model Tax Treaty dealing with transfer pricing. Since 2016, he has been at the Department of Finance as the Director of the International Tax Division in its Business Income Tax Directorate. No? So in 2017, he became the director of the Resource and Environmental Taxation Group in BIT. At Finance, he continued to be a delegate to the OECD Working Party 6. He was qualified as an expert in the field of economic analysis of transfer pricing in Marzin Artistic Aluminum Limited versus the Queen. No? So, in Marzin, his expert report was ruled inadmissible by Justice Sheridan, went on to rely on his rebuttal report. No? So, itong si Oliver Rogerson. If any group of companies, ano naman itong nangyari sa FNA? FNA is described by its founder, James Mann, as a business alliance of farmers from across Canada and parts of the United States designed to change how market function in order to increase farmer profitability. No? So yun naman yung purpose ni James Mann, increase farmer profitability. In his words, it was no counter the observation that farmers are the only business people who buy retail and sell wholesale. FN's strategy is to achieve its objectives on behalf of its membership, no? So, by number one, creating competition and enhancing negotiation. Two, creating efficiencies in the marketplace in favor of farmers, no? So, in favor of farmers. Three, moving up and down the value chain to capture those margins, no? And reducing technological risk, for example, through the development and implementation of information systems. No? So, yun yung mga objectives ni James Mann kasi siya nga yung founder ng FNA. FNA is a member and membership services-based organization. No? So, virtually all of its revenues come from selling membership to its members. Where the F&A group provides products, commodities, or services to members, those are promoted by F&A but are provided through separate F&A group companies. So there are a significant number of different F&A group companies as they work in different markets with different suppliers and with different co-investors, unique to the product, service, or business being developed. So yun yung sa F&A group of companies. No? Wala pang shoutout?
Meron na ba?
Oo. Sige, shoutout muna.
As usual, ma'am, si Ma'am Lilia.
Oo.
Lilian Yao.
Thank you, Ma'am Lilian. Wala na akong boses. May lecture pa ako 2 days. Kaya siguro bukas lang tayo mag-live streaming, no? Wednesday, pahinga muna. Kasi wala tayong boses. 2 araw tayo magle-lecture. At napaka-exciting ng lecture po natin ng 2 gabi. O 2 araw yan, 2 days. Ano yun? Yung para sa tax preparers. Kaya nga, piniprepare namin yung mga PowerPoint para pagdating ng Webes, pwede na rin i-email po sa participants. We have so many participants because it's filing season. Kaya it's timely. Kaya nga, nag-reset na tayo, Hari, di ba? Doon sa reset natin, may nag-enroll na uli?
Wala pa, madam.
Inano mo ba?
Dadagdag lang yun, madam.
Pero dapat mag-invite ka ulit kasi hindi nila alam na pwede na. I-email mo sila. I-email mo sila ngayon. I-repost mo yung na you can register na. Kasi kinlose sila ng Google kasi napuno na.
Ano yung storage?
I-ano mo ulit. 300 plus na eh. So, i-ano mo kasi ang target nga dati niyan mga 1,000 eh. 1,000 na participants kasi all over the Philippines yan. At saka right now, Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao na yung nag-enroll sa atin. At saka sayang naman, it's tax season, no? Kaya malaking tulong sa atin yan. Dahil hindi naman siya perfect na lahat talaga makukover natin sa 2 days. But there are so many topics na discuss natin sa inyo. And yung mga karamihan na mali o kulang sa paggawa ng financial statement, disclosures, no, at saka yung mga format ng mga financial statements according to industries, o at least meron tayo yung construction at saka service companies. Meron tayong sa manufacturing companies. No? Kasi bakit? Alam nyo, yung ginagawa ko kasi ngayon, doon pa lang sa preparation ng financial statements, ma-answer na natin yung ibang mga issues, no? Especially yung mga issues sa transfer pricing, kasama natin yan na i-discuss pagdating doon sa mga disclosure to financial statements, no? Para pagdating na sa preparation ng financial statements, yung tapos na yung financial statements nyo, hindi na siya glaring doon na ang daming mga mali na pagdating ng transfer pricing audit, pre-return pa lang, hindi pa nag-audit yung examiner, may nakikita ng findings, no? Kaya nga i-relate natin yan sa preparation ng financial statements ninyo. No? So, thank you talaga si Ma'am Lilian. Masipag yan, pati doon sa smart tips, no? Ma-attend din siya. Thank you very much and good evening to you, Ma'am Lilian. Wala na?
Wala naman siya.
Okay. Siya lang yung masipag talaga eh.
8 viewers.
Okay. Okay. Sige, dito na tayo sa regulation ng glyphosate-based herbicides. Itong glyphosate-based herbicides, ito yung brand niya is Clear Out, no? Clear Out na herbicides. Yun ang pangalan. At ini-import nila yan sa US, no? At tingnan nyo dito kung anong ginawa nitong magkapatid. Kung papaano sila din nagkaroon ng findings. Pero ang nangyari dito, talo dito yung Canadian Revenue Agency. Why? Kasi ang in-invoke nila dito, yung sham transactions, is a criminal act, no? And alam nyo naman ang pagka-criminal case, burden of proof, no? May doubt na konti lang, in favor ka agad yan sa accused. So, ang nangyari dito, panalo dito yung AgraCity, no? So, pero tingnan natin anong ginawa. Kasi alam nyo, sa transfer pricing cases, ang pinaka-root dyan, sa issue, yung kung anong ginawa, no? Hindi naman yung result na ito na, dinisallow na. No, may reason yan kung bakit dinisallow. At anong ginawa ng company, kaya siya na-disallow, no? So, yun yung pinag-uusapan natin dito. Kasi, yung iba, no, halimbawa, yung ibang mga accountant or ibang viewers natin, sabihin, ma'am, gawan mo na lang ng summary. Paano natin matakil yung mga issues na importante kung summary lang, no? Kasi pagka summary lang, sabihin mo lang, ito ginawa niya. Pero, paano, ano yung proseso na ginawa niya? Ako kasi, doon ako sa yung at the back. Ayoko yung harap lang, no? Ano ba yung ginawa niya na ito yung nagiging findings, no? Okay. Kaya umpisa natin talaga sa kung ano yung ginawa ng company, no? So in this case, in Canada, glyphosate-based herbicides such as Clear Out are subject to Federal Pest Management Control Act, no? Administered by the PMRA. So the sale, distribution, and use of regulated products such as glyphosate-based herbicides, including Clear Out in Canada, requires that the particular product itself be registered. Registration in Canada is a lengthy, detailed, and complicated process, no? As one would expect, requiring chemical evaluations of the glyphosate sourced by the applicant as well as the overall product formula for which it is an active ingredient, no? So the process of registering a regulated product in Canada can be somewhat shortened if the product has already been registered in the United States by the Food and Drug Administration. So, binibigyan din nila ng weight ang registration ng product sa United States, no? Kasi ibig sabihin nun na dumaan na siya sa proseso, na-evaluate na siya. In the period in question, Clear Out was not available or offered for sale in Canada as a Canadian registered product, no? Hindi siya registered product sa Canada. The initial US manufacturer of the Clear Out had applied for and obtained registration in Canada in 2006. But this was not known to the FNA group or the Mann brothers at that time. Hindi alam ng FNA na itong Clear Out, meron na palang registration noong 2006, no, sa Canada. The PMRA did register Clear Out in May 2006, but it was not made available in Canada in accordance with the registration and under the conditions of registration until sometime in 2008. No? So, nakaregister na siya, pero hindi siya available. No? So, ibig sabihin, walang sale na nangyari. Hanggang noong 2008, so mga 2 years, no? After Albo had become the owner, manufacturer, and supplier of the product. So, tingnan natin sino itong si Albo na to na corporation at ano yung participation niya. Kasi bigla, noong 2008, siya na yung owner, manufacturer, supplier ng product, ng Clear Out, no? So, this resulted in Canadian farmers thereafter being able to buy Clear Out directly from Canadian suppliers, which promptly ended FNA's role as sponsor of Clear Out under the Canadian OUI program and new AGCO Barbados business of selling Clear Out to FNA members under the OUI program. So, nung Albo na yung owner, manufacturer, and supplier ng product, yung mga farmers hindi na dumadaan sa FNA or doon sa Farmers of North America na association. Diretso na sila na nakakabili na sa mga Canadian suppliers, no? So, yun yung nangyari sa 2008. So, bakit nagkaroon pa ng transfer pricing issues, no? So, who is behind the Albo na siya na bigla yung owner, manufacturer, and supplier ng product, no? So, in the years in question, 2007 and 2008 yan, it was the US FDA registration of Clear Out that permitted FNA to apply as sponsor of the PMRA for clear-out acceptance under the OUI program to be eligible for Canadian farmers to be able to purchase it in the U.S. from any source, whether or not affiliated with FNA group in any manner, and to import it into Canada for themselves, for their own use. Yun yung OUI program, no? The PMCA also regulates who may use the registered product as well as the location, timing, and purpose of any use. Kasi kaya nga regulated siya, no? Herbicides. Kasi di ba yung herbicides, pamatayan ng mga insects na kumakain ng mga farm products. Pero pwede din siya na dangerous siya sa mga tao. Kasi mamamatay din yung mga hayop, mga tao. No? Kaya regulated siya. Okay, so ano itong OUI program? No? Okay, so ano na natin yung steps ng OUI, di ba? Okay. Okay. Ito yung nangyari. Ito yung masaya dito, no? So, following extensive consultations and numerous meetings with the PMRA, the MANS, ito si Jason at saka si James, and the FNA, understood the clear out and the OUI program could be promoted by FNA to its members, but it remained forbidden for anyone to offer clear out for sale in Canada. Bawal magbenta ng clear out sa Canada, no? So they understood from their PMRA consultations, materials, and meetings that this meant that their members would have to purchase the clear out from a non-Canadian supplier outside Canada. The regulator described the difference between offering for sale and promoting availability as a fine line to draw or walk. No? So dito na sila nag-twist, no? Kasi hindi siya pwede na ibenta sa Canada. So anong ginawa nila? Hindi siya pambenta, but nag-i-import sila, ang sabi lang, para available lang sa mga members or farmers. So I find on the evidence that this was a perfectly reasonable understanding of PMRA's position. Pinanigan sila ng korte, no? And in any way, any event would have been the prudent business decision to make to avoid any adverse interpretation of the provisions of the PMCA by the PMRA or any challenge by Canadian glyphosate-based herbicide suppliers who would be significantly affected by dropping prices or sales as a result of clear out being available under the OUI program. Kasi natitreaten yung ibang product. Pag pumasok na yung clear out, magda-drop na yung sales ng ibang product, no? So in 2005, James Mann caused a new US corporation. Ito na. Kaya alam nyo, sa tax consultancy ko, yung interview ka ng mga clients mo and how they make it in their business. Para na-amaze ka sa mga naisip nila, sa mga ginagawa nila, no? So ito nang ginawa, matalino itong dalawang magkapatid na to, no? So James Mann caused a new US corporation, no? Kumuha siya ng bagong US corporation, New Agco Incorporated, no? New Agco US, to be established in the state of Delaware to be used to purchase clear out in the US markets, to warehouse it in its rented warehouse facilities in North Dakota, and to sell it to FNA members. No? So sa US yan, doon siya, gumawa siya ng corporation sa US, at doon din siya bumibili. Bakit? Kasi prohibited sa Canada. No? So in that year, New Agco, 2005 ito US sourced its clear out in the US from a large number of suppliers with clear out available at a fraction of the price that glyphosate-based herbicide were selling for in Canada. Murang-mura yung clear out. So their suppliers included Chemical Products Technology, who was then the manufacturer of Clear Out, and who later sold its rights to Clear Out to Albo, no? So, malalaman natin ngayon sino na naman tong Albo na to. As well as a number of other agricultural supply distributors across the U.S. who had available Clear Out products, no? Binenta na. Kasi, ganun yung product pagka mabenta na, maraming interested na mag-invest, no? So, New Agro US demand for Clear Out from FNA members in Canada was very significant and greatly reduced the available supply in the U.S., such that New Agro US worked very hard and went to considerable lengths to locate and acquire all the Clear Out they could from available sources. So, anong ginawa ng New Agro US owned by James Mann? Lahat ng suppliers sa United States, hinahanap niya lahat, no? Kasi ang laki ng demand sa Canadian farmers. Bakit? Kasi binaba nila yung presyo, no? Mas nakakatipid yung mga farmers compared doon sa herbicides available in Canada. New Agro US sold Clear Out to individual FNA members, FOB, their individual farms in Canada. So itong si New Agro US, binibenta niya yung herbicide na Clear Out sa individual na FNA members, freight on board, no? Sila na yung nagbabayad sa freight. Their individual farms in Canada, no? So, sa Canada binibenta. New Agro US typically purchase Clear Out from its US suppliers in large quantities, paid for them upon purchase, and arranged for it to be delivered by transport truck to their US warehouse facilities. From there, individual containers being either 1,000 liters or drums of 200 liters would be specifically identified as having been purchased by specific Canadian purchasers, and each purchaser's Canadian labels would be affixed. So doon pa lang sa warehouse ni New Agro owned by James Mann, ang bintahan ng Clear Out, and then nagkakaroon na ng label yung Canadian farmers affixed to the product, no? Kasama na yung OUI permit and necessary customs form. So all in multiple copies and while maintaining the integrity of the US FDA labeling. No? So this would include the purchaser's import-export account number from CRA, which was typically newly obtained by FNA as an agent for a farmer upon their first purchase, unless they had previously imported goods into Canada commercially. New Agro US would arrange and pay for third-party truck transport to the Canadian buyers. After a short period of time, New Agro US engaged third-party customs brokers to clear customs on behalf of its individual purchaser and that purchasers Clear Out containers. These were dedicated transport trucks filled only with Clear Out that Canadian farmers had purchased from New Agro US. The numbers of truckloads measured in the hundreds. Imagine, no? So, ubos yung supply ng Clear Out sa US. Binili. Dahil murang-mura na benta nila sa Canada. No? So, New Agro US used AgraCity to attend to the logistical and related activities of its sales and deliveries to its Canadian buyers. So, ano nangyari? Si Agro US, ginamit niya itong si AgraCity, no? Di ba? Ito yung inano ng Canada, inassess ng Canada, no? So, anong ginawa niya kay AgraCity? Ginamit niya na logistics, no? So, may case tayo dyan, Hari, na sa logistics, di ba? Unrelated activities of its sales and deliveries to its Canadian buyers, no? This was set out in a written services agreement between the two corporations. So, ito na po yung titingnan natin na pag gumagawa na tayo ng transfer pricing issues, ng transfer pricing analysis and documentation, ito yun, ang titingnan natin na magkakaroon ng transfer pricing issue, ito yung service agreement between the New Agro US at saka yung AgraCity. Why? Kasi they are related parties and they are both owned by James Mann. Oh, So, yun yung ipapakita natin kasi sa totoo lang, ang daming mga questions nagpo-post sa akin about transfer pricing. Analysis muna, no? Analysis. Kasi pag wala tayong analysis, hindi tayo makapagbigay na accurate na sagot dun sa mga tanong nyo. No? Kasi ako, maingat din ako. Pagka walang facts, diretso tanong na lang, hindi ko talaga yan ma-answer. No? Kasi hindi naman ako manghuhula. Paano ko naman hulaan yan? At saka pag nanghula ka, mali yung hula mo. Kaya, ano sabi sa transfer pricing case? Each an individual case is different and unique, no? Kaya nga ang transfer pricing case is factual based on the facts and circumstances of the case. Kaya pag nanghihingi sa akin ng opinion, hindi talaga ako makapagbigay, no? Kasi sabihin lang ganito, tapos magtatanong na, hindi ko kayang sagutin, no? So under its terms, AgraCity was paid an amount per liter of clear out sold to perform the services. Oh, ito na. Anong bayad ng Agco US to AgraCity? Per liter of clear out. So, meron bang ganun? No? So, ito na yung titingnan ninyo pag gumagawa kayo ng transfer pricing analysis report. Itong service agreement at saka itong bayad niya na per liter of clear out, ito ba yung arm's length? Ito ba yung nangyayari sa independent party? Kaya nga, nagkaroon dito ng recharacterization, no? So, the amount was revised and adjusted upwards twice between 2005 and 2007. O, ibig sabihin, tinaasan naman, no? To ensure it was and remain profitable for AgraCity in practice. Kasi baka naman lugi si AgraCity. If you try to look at si Agco US owned by James Mann, si AgraCity owned also by James Mann. So, as an economic entity, kahit sino sa kanila ang malugi, walang problema sa may-ari. Because kung saan man napunta yung profit, sa kanya pa rin yun. Because both corporation is owned by him. Pero sino ang malulugi dito? The AgraCity based in Canada and or the Agco US based in United States. Bakit? Kasi magkaibang taxing authority yan sila. So kung i-shift mo yung profit sa isang company, halimbawa, mas malaki yung profit ng Agco US, sa US yun babayaran. Halimbawa naman mas malaki yung profit ng AgraCity, doon mo inassign yung malaking profit, malaki yung babayaran sa Canada. So, both the two taxing authority, magkakaroon sila ng dispute, no? Kung sino talaga at saan talaga dapat bayaran yung tax. No? Kaya ang anong i-apply? The arm's length principle. Kasi actually, ang transfer pricing case, especially pag cross-border, conflict yan ng dalawang taxing authority. Sa related parties owned by same person, baliwala yan. No? Baliwala yan because in this case, sa dalawang company, kahit saan mo babayaran yan ang tax, doon pa rin napupunta yan sa National Treasury ng grupo. No? So, but nagiging issue siya because of the taxing authority kung saan dapat talaga bayaran. Okay. AgraCity and its staff would coordinate with FNA, MSRs, and other FNA staff once an order for clear-out was placed in FNA by a member to attend to all of the purchase, no? Import and customs paperwork, labeling and arranging payment and deliveries. FNA would promote the availability of clear-out at a price per liter fixed by the new Agco US, no? So, na-fix na yung amount. And communicated to FNA. FNA was responsible for all of its member service activities up to placing the order and fix its terms for payment, delivery, and importation. Dito, ano mo talaga, ma-picture mo in your mind. Sino si Agco US owned by James Mann? Sino si AgraCity owned by James Mann? Sino si FNA founded by James Mann? No? Nilipat na lang niya noong 2007 doon sa younger brother niya na si Jason. Kaya tingnan mo, iba-ibang business entity ito, iba-ibang corporations, pero iisang tao yung at the back. No? So, FNA worked with its member to facilitate and administrate the OUI process as well as to organize and direct delivery to the members' farm. No? So yun yung kagandahan bakit na-invento itong mga companies, no? Kasi yung company na yung front, pero at the back same person, no? FNA work with its member to facilitate and administrate the OUI process as well as to organize and direct delivery to the members' farm. Members would appoint FNA their agents in writing for attending to customs and duties upon importation. No? Kasi imported yan so dadaan sa customs. AgraCity was thereafter responsible as a subcontractor of New Agco US. Anong participation dito ng AgraCity? Subcon siya ng Agco US at siya yung nasa logistics, siya yung nasa delivery, no? To complete the sale, import, and delivery to the purchaser. So, FNA and AgraCity shared office space in Saskatoon with most space designated for one or the other, no? Siyempre, magsishare sila sila may-ari sa kanila. They each had their own staff and payroll for their separate and distinct businesses. It was on occasion the practice for one to borrow available staff from the other as needed and to make intercompany charges at year-end based on shared staff time and cost estimates. So meron silang intercompany charges, no? Kasi meron silang intra-group services, no? Or charges. The sudden surge of activity, biglang lumaki, no? Yung transactions, yung sales. From the successful high demand, no, clear out service offered by FNA to its members required such staff lending between AgraCity and FNA, and it was not uncommon for FNA MSRs after taking and placing the order to help attend to AgraCity's logistics services, no? Including such things as preparing and completing customs importation, paperwork, and preparing, signing, and affixing its individual copy of its label for its purchaser. These were tracked and accounted for, no? So, sobrang demand ng clear out sa Canada. Bakit? Kasi napakamura, no? Cheaper compared to the available herbicides in the Canadian market. FNA consulted extensively with PMRA, nagko-coordinate sila dun sa regulatory agency, no? To ensure it was in compliance with the OUI program and permit requirements. Tama lang. Alam nyo yung ibang cases sa transfer pricing na lugi yung o natalo yung company kasi hindi sila kumukuha ng advice sa government, no? Kaya ang maganda talaga na hindi ka matatalo. Once in a while or palagi yan, palagi kang compliant to the regulatory agency. Palagi kang naka-hook sa kanila para kung ano man yung kanilang requirements na comply mo, no? So ito yung mga nakikita ko na ibang mga cases na kung titingnan mo, tagilid na. But because they are compliant to government regulatory agencies, hindi sila talo pagdating sa kaso. No? So, yan yung mga lessons learned ko dito sa mga cases. No? At saka, number one na din, documentation. Documentation and compliance to the regulatory authorities. No? Yung famous na transfer pricing case, kaya lang yung natalo kasi may mga government regulatory requirements siya na hindi na-comply, no? Just like mga permits. Its initial member communication announcing clear out availability through the OUI program was reviewed by PMRA staff before it went out. So ito yung kagandahan dito, no? Kasi since regulated nga itong herbicides na to na PMRA, it is reviewed by PMRA staff before it went out, no? So, ibig sabihin talagang compliant siya with the regulatory requirement. One of the PMRA's key concern was that FNA only be promoting clear out availability under the OUI program and offering its services to members in connection with that, and that FNA not be offering clear out for sale in Canada. So, ano lang ang sinisito dito ng PMRA or the Pest Management Regulatory Agency, na available lang ito sa member na farmer at hindi binibenta sa market ng Canada. No? In 2005, FNA recorded and reported in Canada its membership fee revenues, and AgraCity recorded and reported in Canada its revenues under the service agreement with New Agco US. No? So, yung FNA, i-report niya yung kanyang revenues. Yung AgraCity also na company siya registered in Canada also reported its income based on the service agreement na meron siya with the Agco US. No? So it's accounted for the shared employee payments. Yung intragroup services nila, charges, accounted for. There is no evidence that could lead the judge to conclude that the new Agco US did not record and report its clear-out sales profits in the US. No? CRA did not reassess anyone in respect of the 2005 clear-out sales and related transactions. It can be noted that the US is perceived as a high corporate tax jurisdiction and that it has a full tax treaty with Canada. Kaya nga, pag may mga issues na in the tax, no, cross-border transactions, you really have to consult the tax treaty. No? Kaya yung maraming nagtatanong sa akin about the income taxation, consult the tax treaty, especially kung foreign yan. In December 2005, CPT sold the clear-out rights and inventory to Albo, which already had its own glyphosate-based product. So, si CPT, yung supplier ng clear-out, binenta niya ngayon kay Albo yung kanyang glyphosate-based product. Ito yung clear-out, no? Binenta na. This was the first the Mann brothers had heard of Albo. Hindi nila kilala, no? So, Jason Mann promptly set about persuading Spencer Vance at Albo to sell clear out to New Agco Barbados. So, ito yung sabi ko na may business acumen, no? So, nabigla si Jason Mann kasi mabenta yung clear out, no? And then bigla binenta. Hindi mo alam what's the reason nung mayari, bakit napaka high demand ng product niya tapos ibebenta niya, no? So, sino nagbenta? Si Albo. So, nalaman kaagad ito ni Jason Mann. So, anong ginawa niya? Sinabihan niya si Spencer Vance na may-ari ng Albo na bilhin niya yung clear out to New Agco Barbados. Ano yung New Agco Barbados? Itong another corporation na sinet up ni Jason Mann nasa Barbados, which is a tax haven countries, no? So, in negotiations between Spencer Vance and Jason Mann in late 2005, New Agco Barbados got an exclusive supply agreement from Albo. No? So, binibili niya, hindi binenta. So, ano na lang ang nangyari? Exclusive supply agreement. No, wala nang ibebenta sa iba yung Albo sa kay kay Jason Mann na lang through its company na New Agco Barbados. No? So, ganyan ang nasa business eh. Talagang kailan mabilis ka. Otherwise, before you know it, wala ka na pala yung best-selling mo na item. No? Kasi binenta na ng supplier. The two corporations also signed a confidentiality agreement relating to their arrangement in the first half of 2007. So, yan yung tinitingnan ko kasi yung mga confidentiality agreement na yan, pagdating mo na sa gumawa ka ng transfer pricing analysis, di yan ibibigay sa iyo ng company, no? Pero at their own expense naman yun. Kasi pagka pinatawag ka ng court, then may ibang mga documents were not available to you when you make a transfer pricing analysis, then that can be a reason, no? Na mag-deviate ka doon sa opinion mo. 2006 and 2007, the structure put in place and used in 2005 continued largely unchanged, no? Same pa rin yung the way they do business, no? 2006 and 2007, except New Agco Barbados was incorporated in March 2006 to take on the role New Agco US had until then carried on. So ano itong New Agco Barbados? Siya na yung gumagawa ng role ni New Agco US. Kasi bakit? Kasi exclusive na siya na purchase agreement with the new owner of Clear Out. So new AGCO US orders from the FNA members in the fall of 2005 for spring 2006 and its clear-out inventory and rights were transferred to new AGCO Barbados. Nag-restructure na sila, no? Yung AGCO US napunta na kay AGCO Barbados, no? Albo become the virtually sole supplier to new AGCO Barbados. Isa lang yung kanyang supplier, yung Albo. Of clear out until its exclusively supply agreement following Albo acquisition from SPPT of the clear out rights and inventory. No? After the end of the 2005 agricultural season and before the 2006 agricultural season began, the Mann brothers decided to transfer new AGCO US Canadian clear-out sales business to a new corporation to be incorporated in Barbados. Oh? So, dinivest nila. Wala na sila sa US, sa Barbados na. This was done primarily to minimize the US tax payable on the sales profits. Sinapakataas ng tax sa US, no? So, anong ginawa nila? Nilipat sa Barbados na tax haven countries or maliit lang yung tax, no? This was an asset sale was completed in which money, accounts, and clear-out inventory changed hands. No? Changed hands lang, pero formality lang yun kasi same owner. The newly incorporated New AGCO Barbados purchased the clear-out related business assets from New AGCO US and took over its US warehouse space. Oh, tingnan mo ha. Tingnan mo. In paper lang yun. Bakit? Kasi iba na yung may-ari sa New AGCO US, pero same warehouse pa rin ang ginamit, nandun pa rin, nag-exchange lang sila in papers. No? At if you try to look at, siya pa rin yung may-ari ng AGCO Barbados at saka yung AGCO US. No? So Jason Mann was given express, though unwritten authority to set the price by New AGCO Barbados from James Mann as director of New AGCO Barbados. So silang magkapatid. This was formally minuted in 2007. Ano yung minuted? It was approved during the board meeting. No? Kaya tingnan natin sa gawa natin ng transfer pricing analysis in our documentation, dapat kasama yung mga minutes of the board. Why? Because that's the time that the policies of the companies are approved. No? Tsaka yung mga MANCOM meeting, EXICOM meeting. Ang bilis na oras, kunti pa lang yung ating discussion.
Shout out, madam.
Oh, shout out.
Kay Ma'am Fe Herrera.
Ang sipag ni Ma'am Fe.
Interesting topic mo.
Ito na, Ma'am Fe, yung mga ginagawa sa transfer pricing. Kaya, if you try to look at it, may intindihan mo kung paano nag-exchange, gagawa ng mga step by step na mga transactions yung those involved in business, no? Especially sa mga foreign companies, multinational group, no? So dito mo makikita na kasi may access sila sa iba-ibang bansa. So pwede nilang ilipat pati yung business transactions nila, no?
Si Ma'am Lilia.
Oh.
Good evening daw po.
Oo, talaga. Nandyan din siya. Nabigay na ba yung kanyang clearance?
Di pa, ma'am. Sabi niya, siya daw kukuha dito.
Oo, nandyan na. Sige. Tapos, yung mga FS ninyo ha, tsaka medyo mahigpit tayo ngayon dahil SEC accredited na tayo, ma-penalize tayo sa SEC. No? Di ba masyado noong hindi tayo accredited, kasi walang accreditation, hindi tayo masyadong pinapansin. Ngayon pagka is accredited ka na, medyo mahigpit. Kasi pati notes to FS mo, presentation mo ng mga line item. Kaya nga itong tax preparer, ginawa talaga natin yan to be compliant with the SEC requirements, no? Under Rule 68 ng SEC, no? Kaya medyo ano lang naman, hindi lang tayo, maingat lang tayo. At saka we comply. O kaya tingnan nyo dito sa case na to, bakit na panalo dito yung AgraCity? Kasi compliant sila with the government regulatory requirements. No? So panalo sila dito. Okay. If in ito yung Farmers of North America, which is a corporation na founded by James Mann, no? Was receiving orders from 2 or 3,000 farmers. You can just imagine, gumawa siya ng association at yun ang naging customer niya. Imagine, hindi ka na maghanap ng customer, nandun na, naka-organize na. No? Each year, during this period, and multiple orders, each year per farmer. No? Multiple, ibig sabihin, parami yung order bawat farmers. Orders for members purchases from New Barbados amounted to 5 to 7 million liters each year. So, ganun nakarami. Kasi bakit? Na-achieve ni James Mann dito yung purpose niya. Ano yung purpose niya? Na magkaroon ng cheaper na mga gamit yung farmers kasi to increase profitability ng farmers, no? Which is also a good objective. Jason Mann continued to buy all available clear out for New Agco Barbados as he had before for New Agco US. No? So, talagang sinusource out niya yung mga suppliers ng clear out. No? The price of clear out to Canadian farmers continued to be determined by Jason Mann for New Agco Barbados as its cost from ALBO from time to time plus a reasonable margin for expenses and profit. Bakit? Kasi yung ALBO yung pinaka-supplier niya. No? New Agco Barbados was having virtually all of its ALBO clear-out purchases transported to the North Dakota warehouse for sale and delivery to Canadian farmers. So, lahat ng purchases, si Agco Barbados ang bumibili. No? Okay. Ilang oras na tayo, Hari? Kasi,
21.
sige. Kasi papunta na tayo sa sham transactions. Yun ang pinaka number one na issue dito. Eh. Ano ba ang ibig sabihin ng sham transactions as alleged by the tax authority dito, no? Yung Canadian Revenue Agency, no? So the payment from farmers were received in Canadian dollars prior to delivery. AgraCity collected the funds and then periodically transferred them to New Agco Barbados. So, anong nangyari dito? So, binabayaran ng mga farmers na Canadian ang AgraCity ang nagko-collect, no? This AgraCity is also a corporation owned by James Mann, no? So, in Canadian dollars, and then nire-remit niya sa Agco Barbados, no? So, for the first few months, New Agco US paid for the inventory purchased by New Agco Barbados, but the cost was reimbursed and borne by New Agco Barbados. No? So yung first few months daw, binabayaran siya ng Agco US, pero after that, nire-reimburse na lang ni Agco US, ni Agco Barbados, si Agco US for the payment of the purchases. So, after the few months in 2006, New Agco Barbados paid ALBO directly. Oh, may pera na siya. So, the clear-out purchases and sales were properly recorded on the financial statement of New Agco Barbados. So, yun lang. Kasi, properly accounted yung purchases. No? Nire-record doon sa kay Agco Barbados. The freight invoices from the third party. So, anong mangyayari dito na yung purchases and sales were properly recorded in New Agco Barbados? Nakakatipid sila kasi kahit i-declare mo lahat ng sales, lahat ng purchases sa New Agco Barbados, which is a tax haven countries, meaning napakaliit lang ng tax rate niya, nakakatipid pa rin sila as compared na doon niya ibabayad sa Agco US na up to 40%, 45% yung tax rate, no? Eh kung dito sa Barbados, 5% to 10% lang, as compared mo doon sa 40 to 45%, no? Mga 30% ang savings mo. So, napakalaki. The freight invoices from the third-party tracking companies were also borne by New Agco Barbados. Some were payable in Canadian dollars and some were payable in US dollars. Sino tong tracking services, freight invoices? Yung AgraCity, no? Which is also owned by the Mann brothers. The warehousing cost of the North Dakota warehouse were also borne by New Agco Barbados kasi siya na yung new owner. The drum and tote recycling cost for the shipping containers in which the farmers' purchases were delivered were also borne by New Agco Barbados. No, siya na lahat. mamaya tingnan nyo papaano ito chinars na sham transactions. Ang sham transaction, ibig sabihin, deceit, pandaraya, no? Yun ang sinasabi dito. Okay. In 2006, New Agco paid management fees of $50,000 a month in respect of the shared employee services to FNA relating to clear out activities, no? Si New Agco, binayaran niya yung management fee, no? $50,000 a month, imagine. After Mr. Virgin became controller, si Virgin ito yung CPA, no? In December 2006, he put in place, ito si Mr. Virgin, CPA ito na dati nagtrabaho sa Ernst & Young at saka sa KPMG. Yun yung mga malalaking accounting firms in the world. No? So he put in place the cost reimbursement program in respect of shared employee services in its place. He understood that the management fee amount was itself based on estimated cost. Ang management fee daw is based on estimated cost. No? Okay. 2008. CPT's Canadian registration of clear out was not transferred by the PMRA to ALBO until very late 2007. Sino itong si CPT's? This is the supplier, no, ng clear out na herbicide, no? Kasi binenta na siya kay ALBO. In 2008, ALBO made the registered Canadian clear out products available for sale in Canada in accordance with its Canadian registration requirements. So ito na, naging available na sa Canada yung clear out, no, product. A seller in Canada of a Canadian registered product is subject to greater reporting requirements to the PMRA under the PCMCA than is required under the OUI program. Kasi, bakit? May privileges itong OUI program kasi exclusive lang siya sa farmers at organized sila, meron silang association, no? Which is the FNA or the Farmers in North America. So this was done by ALBO when ALBO decided it was the appropriate time for it to enter the Canadian market for clear out in this fashion. Diba si ALBO nag-sign siya ng exclusive agreement kay New Agco Barbados. Ngayon, gusto ni ALBO na papasok na siya mismo, diretso na siya magbebenta sa Canada, no? So the OUI program was no longer attractive even while US registered clear out remained eligible for it and was not promoted or serviced by the FNA. No, parang hindi na attractive yung on-use import program, no? And then hindi na rin ginagamit ng FNA or the Farmers of North America. So ALBO does not sell its products to end users. No, hindi siya nagbebenta sa end users. After December 2007, ALBO Clear Out was sold to FNA members via AgraCity Crop and Nutrition, no? So, ibang company naman to. An affiliate member in the FNA group that sold other products to FNA members. The order taking arrangement and the transfer arrangement remained virtually identical. So, may bagong pumasok na company pero identical yung arrangement, no? Analysis. So, ito na yung analysis po ng Canadian Revenue Agency. Paragraph 19, ano ibig sabihin ng sham, no? SHAM, no? Sham transactions. Paragraph 19 of the amended reply dito po sa case na to because this is already under appeal, no? Reads, the series of transactions entered into by AgraCity amounts to a sham or window dressing. No? Sham transactions. Gawa-gawa lang. Designed to deceive, no? Para lokohin yung minister into concluding that New Agco Barbados, not AgraCity, was undertaking a business and incurring real risk. And accordingly, the profit from the series in the amount of 2,413,520 and 3,670,478 are properly included in AgraCity's income for its taxation years 2007 and 2008 respectively pursuant to Section 3 and 9 of the Act, no? So anong sabi dito? Niloko daw ng Agco Barbados and not the AgraCity yung transactions, no? So ano daw ibig sabihin? Yung AgraCity daw talaga ang may income. So in its written argument, the respondent positioned in that the services agreement is a sham. Sino yung respondent dito? Yung government, no? Yung Canadian Revenue Agency. Is a sham to camouflage, parang pantakip lang sa operation ng AgraCity as those of New Agco Barbados. That gave the illusion that New Agco Barbados was selling clear out to Canadian farmers when the evidence showed that the activities were those of the AgraCity, no? So, anong sabi dito? Yung totoo daw talaga na transaction sa AgraCity, hindi sa Agco Barbados. Why? Kasi di ba si AgraCity, siya yung may service agreement with Agco Barbados na siya yung logistics, siya yung nagde-deliver, siya yung nagko-collect, siya yung lahat, no? So, ang sabi ng Canadian Revenue Agency dito, hindi totoo na si Agco Barbados ang gumagawa ng negosyo. Ang totoong gumagawa ng negosyo si AgraCity, no? Si AgraCity, which is a company registered in Canada, no? So the reasons put forward by the respondent in support of this are, okay, ito na, bakit sabi ng Canada Revenue Agency, sham or gawa-gawa lang itong transactions na to at ang purpose is to deceive or para lukuhin yung minister. Ito yung reasoning niya, no? New Agco Barbados was an empty shell, no? Shell company. Ibig sabihin, pinaregister lang siya doon sa Barbados pero hindi naman talaga siya nag-ooperate, no? The service agreement purports to be a logistics service agreement when in fact AgraCity perform all of the functions relating to the sale. No, gawa-gawa lang din yung service agreement. Bakit? Kasi ang nagtatrabaho lahat si AgraCity, no? The services agreement was disregarded by the parties because the services went beyond the enumerated activities and included all aspects. Ang naging trabaho dito ni AgraCity went beyond all aspect of carrying on the clear out business. Siya naman talaga ang nagbi-business eh. Pinangalan lang doon sa Agco Barbados, no? Which included selling the clear out and sourcing the clear out and negotiating with suppliers. So in short, ang trabaho ni AgraCity, hindi lang talaga siya logistics, hindi lang delivery. Lahat, pati yung sourcing, pati negotiating with suppliers, no? Okay. So the services agreement specify is not an agency agreement, but the clear out invoices sent to farmers indicated at time AgraCity acting on behalf of New Agco Inc. or as an agent on behalf of New Agcos, no? So the specified services fee was set out in the agreement at 10 cents per liter. Biro mo, 10 cents lang per liter yung kanyang service fee, pero ang dami-dami niyang ginagawa. Diba? Siya pa yung logistics, siya pa yung nasa distribution, siya pa yung nangungulekta, siya pa yung nag-negotiate sa suppliers. No? So, but the amount was increased at year ends and only ratified by New Agco's Board of Directors in 2008. The service agreement was entered into to deceive the minister into believing the profits were earned in a low tax jurisdiction. So yung service agreement, gawa lang daw yun para ipakita na yung profits earned by Agco Barbados. Kasi Agco Barbados is low tax jurisdiction. O mababa yung tax rate doon. The confused books and records of AgraCity and New Agco Barbados were intended to deceive tax authorities in the event of an audit. No? Even the uses of FNA and Farmers of North America was to create the illusion that Farmers of North America Inc. was still in business after its operations were transferred to Farmers and Families of North America. Kasi yung Farmers of North America, binago din nila yun. Ginawa nilang Farmers and Families of North America, no? Albo mailed its invoices to New Agco Barbados at a United States address, no? Ano yun? Yung mga paniningil ni Albo, kasi si Albo yung supplier, saan siya naniningil? Sa US, no? Samantalang ang New Agco Barbados nasa Barbados, no? Some invoices prepared by Albo still referred to New Agco US, no? Kasi nakukonfuse na si Albo. Pero mo, iba yung Agco US, iba yung Agco Barbados. Ngayon si Agco Barbados na yung may-ari. Pero lahat ng transaction nandun pa rin sa US. So, nakukonfuse tuloy si Albo. Ang ginagawa niya na ibang invoices, naka-refer pa rin kay Agco US. No? Other third-party address their invoices to such non-existent entities as New Agco Farmers of North America. So, wala yan. No? O Farmers of North America, AgraCity Ltd, and New Agco. No? So, nagkamali tuloy yung mga third parties. Invoices addressed to New Agco Barbados did not have the address in Barbados. Oh, kaya nga ito yung reason bakit sham transaction ito, no? But either the warehouse address in North Dakota or the address of AgraCity and FNA in Saskatoon, no? So walang address yung Agco Barbados. The MSRs were not aware of the corporate structure of the FNA group or its operation, no? So hindi nila alam yung corporate structure ng FNA group. The board of directors of New Agco Barbados was put in place to give the appearance that something was happening in Barbados, though it only rubber stamp decisions previously made in Canada. Ano yung rubber stamp? Receive lang nila, wala naman talagang nangyayari dun sa Barbados, nasa Canada, no? Kasi nasa Canada yung operations. In addition, the respondent in its amended reply made several assumptions that would support its characterization of the services agreement as a sham. This would include in particular, ito na, yung karagdagan nila na reason bakit sham transactions, no? By sham transactions, we mean deceitful transactions. New Agco Barbados was created for the purpose of sheltering profits of the Farmers of North America corporate group from the Canadian fees, and more specifically, to shelter the profits of AgraCity from the Canadian fees, no? So, bakit ginawa yung Agco Barbados? Para doon i-shelter, doon dalhin yung profits para hindi siya matax sa Canada. On March 29, 2006, AgraCity entered into a service agreement with New Agco Barbados, no, to carry on the activities of selling clear out to FFNA members. Ito na lang ha, ilagay mo lang sa picture mo. Lahat ng mga companies na to, ang may-ari isang tao lang. So, sino nakikipag-usap dito? Sino nag-a-approve? Yung isang tao nakipag-usap, na siya rin yung nag-a-approve, no? So, the business of selling clear out to FFNA members was transferred to the New Agco Barbados at no cost. Oh. Yan ang contention dito ng Canadian Revenue Agency, no? At no cost. So, pwede ba yun? So, it's not arm's length. The fair market value of the services rendered by AgraCity to New Agco Barbados was the amounts of net profits from clear-out sales recorded by New Agco Barbados. No? So, ano tong services na binibigay sa AgraCity? Yun yung net profits from clear-out na recorded by Agco Barbados. No? So, in respect of the sale of clear-out to FFNA members, New Agco Barbados held no assets and performed no economic activities. Dito, pinangalan lang kay Agco Barbados pero wala talaga siyang ginawa, no? Wala siyang assets, tapos wala din siyang economic activities. Bakit? Sino lahat ang gumagawa? Si AgraCity, no? So, New Agco Barbados performed no functions and held no risk. So, si Agco Barbados wala siyang risk. Bakit? Kasi wala naman siyang assets, wala siya lahat, hindi siya nagpa-functions, no? New Agco Barbados provide no value-added functions. AgraCity undertook all the functions and assumed all the risk. So, New Agco Barbados had no employees. So, iyan pa, isa pa, no? Walang employees si New Agco Barbados, no? So, paano siya makapag-operate and earning millions of dollars na wala naman siyang empleyado? No? So, yun yung, kaya nila sinasabi na sham transaction ito or kalokohan na transaction. No? Okay. New Agco Barbados was not a party to the sale of clear out to FFNA members and they were not aware of its existence, no? So, hindi alam ng New Agco yung sale ng clear out sa first, yung family farmers of North America members. The suppliers of Clear Out made no sales of Clear Out to New Agco Barbados. The sales of Clear Out were rather made to AgraCity and other members of the Farmers of North America Corporate Group, no? Sino yung suppliers dito? Yun yung si Albo, no? Wala man siyang ginawang sale to Barbados. New Agco Barbados did not negotiate with suppliers of Clear Out, no? The decision-making process of New Agco Barbados was made in Canada by James Mann and Jason Mann. So ano daw yung decision-making process ng Agco Barbados? Ginawa lang sa Canada ni James Mann and ni Jason Mann. So ang lahat ng transaction ng Barbados nasa Canada, wala naman dun sa Barbados, no? The board of directors of New Agco Barbados acted by approving decisions already made in Canada by James Mann and Jason Mann, no? Okay. Since it was first established in 1998, FFNA negotiated with program suppliers on behalf of FFNA members. Jason Mann negotiated the price of Clear Out with the suppliers. So in addition to the assumptions, the respondent stated the following additional facts in the amended reply, no? Talagang ito yung mga reason ng respondent or ng Canada Revenue Agency na talagang hindi totoo yung transactions ng New Barbados. The service agreement entered into between and New Agco Barbados did not reflect the true agreement between the parties, no? So yung service agreement is not the true agreement. If you try to look at the actual, no, na ginagawa, so malayo yung service agreement. Kasi sa transfer pricing, hindi lang ibig sabihin, there is a service agreement. You also have to see to it that that service agreement are being executed or followed, no? Kasi pwedeng in papers lang yan, pero yung totoo, documentation lang siya, yung totoong dealings, hindi naman sinusunod yung service agreement. So, AgraCity and New Agco Barbados acted in concert to give the false appearance that New Agco was carrying on the business of selling Clear Out, no? So, hindi raw totoo na yung Agco Barbados, yun talaga ang nagbebenta. False appearance lang daw yun. AgraCity knew that the profits reported by New Agco Barbados from selling Clear Out were the profits of AgraCity, no? So, pinapaako lang nila kay Agco Barbados kasi mura yung tax doon, yung income or profits ni AgraCity. Sino si AgraCity? Nandoon to sa Canada, no? So the amended reply of the respondent also states that a series of transactions that amounted to a sham started with the incorporation of New Agco Barbados, no? So yun daw, umpisa na nagkaroon ng incorporation yung Agco Barbados, nagkaroon na ng sham transaction. And included the conclusion of the services agreement between AgraCity and New Agco Barbados, the services provided under the agreement and the acquisition of Clear Out and its sale to FFNA members. So yung mga series of transactions na yan, yun yung sinasabi ng CRA na mga sham transactions, no? Having heard and considered all of the evidence from the witnesses and their documents, the judge in this case, no, si Boyle, falls far short of establishing either that the parties to the transaction sought to present to anyone that the legal rights and obligation of the parties were different than what they knew or understood them to be. Saan pumanig dito yung judge? Sa AgraCity, no? Kasi hindi daw napatunayan ng respondent, which is the tax authority, na different yung legal rights and obligation nila, no? That any of those parties sought to deceive anyone about their purpose or intention or reasons for entering into any of the transactions. Hindi nila na-satisfy, no? Na bigyan ng proof na talagang nanluloko itong si AgraCity, no? At saka si Agco Barbados. That is the evidence presented does not establish the existence of any sham transactions nor any deceptive window dressing. No? Sabi ng judge dito, hindi talaga niya na-establish na mayroong sham transactions nor mayroong window dressing, no, na deceptive. Or hindi napatunayan ng respondent dito na mayroong panloloko na nangyayari, no? Anong sabi ng judge? The reassessed 2006 and 2007 transactions involving New Agco Barbados in its 2007 and 2008 fiscal years are otherwise identical to the calendar 2005 year transactions which used New Agco US, a related company that was not in a low tax jurisdiction. Gumawa din ng comparable, no, yung judge. Ano sabi niya? Yung daw reported na income ng New Agco Barbados sa 2007 and 2008 were same transactions used by New Agco US. At si New Agco US, hindi yun tax haven countries. Pero yung income na ni-report sa US at saka yung ni-report sa Barbados, pareho lang. So, ang ibig sabihin, hindi siya same lang yung income na ni-report ni Barbados, no? So, the initial structure put in place in 2005 involving New Agco US corporates that the basic structure involving a non-Canadian company to source and self-declare out was done for bona fide non-tax reasons, no? So, wala daw tax reason kung bakit nagkaroon ng transaction sa Agco Barbados, no? With no reason to or intention to deceive anyone. So, wala raw panluloko na nangyari. Further, the initially chosen structure was clearly not adapted to reduce taxes, no? So, hindi raw yun ginawa para i-reduce yung taxes. It also corroborates that James and Jason Mann and other F&A group officers and their advisors generally understood from the PMRA that a Canadian company would not be permitted to be responsible for selling or distributing clear out under the OUI program and would not be allowed to be the seller, no? Kasi si AgraCity nasa Canada siya, so they are not allowed to sell, no? Bakit? Kasi bawal hindi pa sila binigyan ng permit, no, to sell directly to Canadian farmers. The structure adopted in 2005 involved a new Canadian corporation with the name New Agco Inc. No? Bakit sabi dito hindi pa pwedeng magbenta doon ang Canadian company diretso sa mga farmers? Kaya nga ang ginawa dito, ang ginamit yung OUI or yung on-use import. Yung members na F&A sa farmers of North America ng group, sila yung directly nag-i-import ng clear out. So, hindi nagbebenta si AgraCity sa Canada dahil bawal, no? So, yun naman yung reason ng AgraCity, no? Okay. So, wala silang permit to sell. Kaya ang ginagawa ni AgraCity, delivery lang siya, no? The structure adopted in 2005 involved a new Canadian corporation with a name, New Agco Inc., no? Quite distinct from other corporations if the F&A group. So, nagkaroon na naman sila ng bagong company, no? Kaya ito hari, pabago-bago ng mga companies, no? Register ng pangalan, no? There was no attempt to mislead or deceive others about the adopted structure. The participants involved or its purpose and objectives, no? The respondent made much of the fact that the new corporation incorporated in Delaware in early 2005 and the new corporation incorporated in Barbados in early 2006 were both named New Agco Inc., no? This can hardly be seen as indicative of a sham perpetrated on the Canadian tax or health authorities, nor of an attempt to window dress the facts for such Canadian authorities. So, hindi raw totoo na lulukuhin yung Canadian tax authorities at saka i-window dress yung facts para sa Canadian authorities, no? Kasi bakit sino ang involved dito? Yung Canadian tax authorities at saka yung Canadian health authorities. Kaya nga regulated itong herbicides na to, no? Kasi pamatay siya ng mga insects at dangerous din siya sa mga tao kasi pwedeng mamatay din yung tao, kaya regulated, no? So, involving a non-Canadian company would hardly concern the Canadian health authorities at the time given their evidence to this court. The new name could not even be confused with an existing Canadian company in the FNA group. So it is not as though they named their new US company AgraCity Ltd. And then went on to give that same name to their Barbados Corporation. No? Kaya daw, sabi nila, kung panluloko ito, yung mga binibigay nila bagong pangalan sa mga bagong corporation, same lang as if they are identified, no, as a group. So, hindi raw ang reason nun para manloko, no? So, the evidence relating to the PMRA policies and practices, its interpretation of the PMCA, and how the OUI program fit into the statutory and regulatory regime was provided to the court by the PMRA's then Executive Director and its then Director General of Compliance, no? Since maganda ang compliance ng AgraCity, ng AGCO, no? Doon sa Pest Management and Regulatory Agency ng Canada. Kaya tingnan nyo, pagdating sa korte, sila yung pinanigan ng PMRA, no? Nung agency. Sila yung pinanigan. Kasi yung reporting nila, kaya nga malaking bagay yun eh. Reporting nila, documentation. No? Their testimony could not have been more clear. It was consistent with the understanding of James Mann and FNA that a Canadian entity could not be the seller of the US clear out to the Canadian farmers under the OUI program. Kaya nga daw, ang income na nire-report ni AgraCity is yung income lang niya doon sa services rendered. Kasi hindi pwedeng magbenta ang AgraCity ng clear out herbicides directly to the farmers, no? Okay. Even if PMRA's view is incorrect and a Canadian could have been the seller, it would have remained an entirely reasonable risk management-based strategic decision to have a non-Canadian company be the seller of the U.S. clear-out from the U.S. given PMRA. Stated concerns, evidenced by both this same testimony and by its concerns that the scope of FNA's activity be limited to making members or potential members aware of clear-out's eligibility under the OUI program and FNA's ability to assist its members make their purchases. This understanding of the Manns and FNA group is corroborated by the fact that they used a U.S. corporation at the start for the first year. No? It was clearly New Agco Barbados that purchased the clear-out by Albo. No? So si Agco Barbados daw talaga ang bumibili from Albo, the supplier. The president of Albo was aware that the New Agco Barbados was the purchaser and was aware that Jason Mann was acting on behalf of New Agco Barbados in negotiating the purchases and the exclusive supply agreement. No? Kaya sinabi na hindi sila nagtatago, hindi sila nagdi-deceive because they are properly represented by this Jason Mann. No? Similarly, New Agco Barbados and the Mann brothers intended for New Agco Barbados to be the purchaser. Sila yung may-ari eh, no? So yun ang intention nila. Those in the FNA group, such as the controller, officers, and board, knew that the New Agco Barbados was purchasing the clear-out from Albo and selling it to FNA members under the OUI program. Kaya ang participation ni AgraCity dito, services lang, no? So in its initial announcement to members, they were clearly told that FNA was only the sponsor and they could remit payments to FNA, who would then transfer those funds to the U.S. supplier. Some of the farmers who testified knew they were buying it from New Agco Barbados, and even some of the FNA's SMRs had some knowledge of New Agco Barbados within the FNA group. No? So alam ng mga farmers na bumibili sila kay Agco Barbados. The purchases and sales were recorded in the books of New Agco Barbados. No? Kaya ito yung sabi ko, properly accounted for ang sales ng Agco Barbados. So in short, wala silang tinatago. The money came from and went into the bank accounts of New Agco Barbados. No? New Agco Barbados received orders from Canadian farmers at a price set in Canadian dollars by Jason Mann, duly authorized by New Agco Barbados to do so on its behalf. These orders were placed through FNA, who promoted clear-out availability under the OUI program to its members. New Agco Barbados purchased its clear-out from ALBO at a US dollar price, negotiated from purchase to purchase by Mr. Vance on behalf of ALBO and by Jason Mann, duly authorized to do so by New Agco Barbados. No? So properly represented yung companies. New Agco Barbados had the clear-out shipped to its warehouses in the U.S. that it paid for. New Agco Barbados arranged for and paid for the clear-out to be delivered to the Canadian farmers, FNA members, purchasers. So, maganda yung ginawa nila na arrangement, no? So, it stands scrutiny in court, no? Bakit stands scrutiny in court? Lahat properly accounted for, hindi sila nagtatago. No? Although, kung may element yun ng pagtatago, talagang deceitful siya. But in this case, transparent sila. So, hindi napatunayan na sham transactions. Although, kung tutuusin mo, sham transaction siya kasi dumaan siya doon. Pero ginamit lang nila yung Agco Barbados para makatipid ng tax. No? So, the amounts paid by these purchasers were collected by AgraCity and remitted to and recorded by New Agco Barbados. No? New Agco Barbados bore material risk in these transactions. It had foreign exchange risk as it sold in Canadian dollars but purchased in US dollars. So mayroon daw siyang foreign exchange risk. Bakit? Kasi binibenta niya Canadian dollars pero binibili niya US dollars. No? So paid for its warehouse rent in US dollars and paid commercial transport in US dollars. During the period it operated in this manner, New Agco Barbados realized and recorded a foreign exchange gain or loss duly recorded in its financial statements. New Agco Barbados owned inventory. So yung inventory is owned also by Barbados and thus bore some of the market risk of Canadian demand dropping or of Canadian prices dropping or of US prices increasing, such that the commercial opportunity declined or disappeared. No? So, mawawala yung commercial opportunity, yung loss, mapunta kay Barbados. New Agco Barbados owned, sold, and transported internationally a chemical herbicide product applied to food products. So, meron pa siyang ibang businesses in New Agco Barbados. This would have had potential produced liability risk for which the U.S. would appear to be the relevant jurisdiction in which any such claim would be pursued. However remote, this too is real commercial risk. No? So, na-establish nila na may risk talaga din si Barbados. That the parties to these transactions took steps to minimize the risk is consistent with sound commercial and business practices. Yun lang naman ang pakita mo, no? Prove it na sound commercial and business practices. Kung baga sa ano, yun ang pangtapat mo dun sa allegation na sham transactions ang nangyayari. No? New Agco Barbados even bought New Agco US inventory on hand when New Agco Barbados started up in 2006. No? So there is transfer of inventory through sale. No? Binayaran niya. Anong oras na, Hari?
1 hour 58 minutes.
58 minutes? So, hindi din natin ito matapos kasi maganda eh. Tsaka ayoko kasi siyang iwanan na although in 1 hour matapos natin to sa next meeting. Kaso lang, sa Wednesday wala muna tayo because mayroon tayong nakakapagod kasi, no? Hindi kakayanin kinabukasan. So, rest tayo ng Wednesday. Next Monday tayo ulit tapusin ko lang tong allegations ng New Barbados. Anong sabi niya dito? New Agco Barbados had acquired a very valuable asset for itself, which was key to the transactions and the business opportunity it was profitably pursuing. The exclusive supply agreement New Agco Barbados have with ALBO for US clear-out product, the only manufacturer of the only glyphosate-based herbicide product approved under OUI program. Sir Trevor Carmichael gave unrefuted expert evidence that all was done properly by New Agco Barbados. No? Siya yung expert witness. And in accordance with applicable Barbados corporate and commercial law. Kasi di ba siya yung attorney na alam niya yung corporate law sa Barbados. This included the validity of the appointment of Jason Mann by its director James Mann to attend New Agco Barbados board meeting in his place. No? The 2008 ratification of the sales by New Agco Barbados of clear out in 2006 and 2007. The 2008 ratification of the 2006 and 2007 increases in the service fees by New Agco Barbados to AgraCity under the services agreement. No? So there was no serious suggestion based upon the evidence that any of the agreements, transactions, or activities did not comply with U.S. or Canadian law as appropriate. No? So the judge completely unable to seriously consider the respondent's argument that the sale of clear out was somehow a breach of Canada's Agriculture and Agri-Food Administrative Monetary Penalties Act and the Agriculture and Agri-Food Administrative Monetary Penalties Regulations respecting the PMCA. No? Kaya nga sabi ko, ang kagandahan lang dito kasi fully complied with yung PMRA na requirements. These were not referred to in the amended reply. The respondent did not ask any questions of either Dr. Dodds, who was the executive director of the PMRA, established under the PMCA, nor of its own witness, Ms. Macola, who was a director general at the PMRA. No? Kasi compliant ang AGCO sa mga requirements. No? So about how import purchasers under the OUI program complied with this other federal legislation, even though from the name of the related regulations, it appears to be respecting the PMCA. Dr. Dodds, in particular, in her testimony, described the challenges of giving effect to the OUI program mandated under the PMCA regulations given the broad language of the PMCA itself. It is wise to give deference to regulators interpret their own statutes, especially where, as here, their interpretation was not challenged in the pleadings or in the course of their evidence. The failure of the respondent to do this with respect to this other federal statute and regulations or to request prior to argument leave to recall either of these witnesses to address this issue would make it both unfair and inappropriate for me to consider this. It was not raised in the pleading and the court was given no evidentiary basis within which to consider this. No? So, yung i-discuss natin next is yung transfer pricing recharacterization. Ano yung basis, bakit pinapaka-recharacterize yung business transactions ng AGCO Barbados at saka yung AgraCity at saka ito yung i-discuss natin yung transfer pricing adjustment na amount, no? Kung bakit pinapa-adjust nila yung amount na it will turn out na yung AgraCity, yun ang may income at hindi yung AGCO Barbados. No? So yun yung i-discuss natin next Monday. No? Next Monday na. Kasi sa next Monday, magkaroon na rin tayo ng ibang case. No? Kasi matatapos na to. Maghanap tayo ng ibang cases na nakaka-relate kayo. Kasi ang tinitingnan ko dito mga issues eh. Kasi yung ibang mga cases, pare-pareho lang ang issue nila, puro intangibles. And yung intangibles, na-discuss na natin yan ng maayos doon sa case ng Coca-Cola. Kaya ginawa na nga natin doon, talagang hinimay-himay natin, talagang we go in depth sa discussion natin sa Coca-Cola kasi intangibles ang involved doon. No? So, ang basis ko na maghanap ako ng mga cases na i-discuss sa inyo, yung iba-iba ang issues. No? So, in this case, na AgraCity versus Her Majesty the Queen, the Canada Revenue Agency, is sham transaction, tapos recharacterization and transfer pricing adjustment. No? So, ito yung issues dito. May shoutout pa? Naka 2 hours tayo?
2 hours, 4 minutes.
Ilang viewers?
6.
Okay. So, with that, I would like to say thank you again po sa ating mga subscribers. And ano lang, reminders po sa mga taxpayer filers natin, no? Kaya nga sabi ko, itong February ako tatanggap ng transfer pricing documentation na anong tawag dito? Engagement. After that, hindi na po talaga. Bakit? Hindi kaya, no? And with a very short time, baka madimanda lang tayo ng ating mga clients because hindi natin matapos hanggang April 15, no? Very tedious po ang documentation ng transfer pricing. Kaya as early as this November pa, i-follow up mo nga yung iba, ha? Kasi hindi na tayo tatanggap ng March, very alanganin na, 45 days na lang, no? And usually 60 days yung hinihingi ko para sa transfer pricing analysis, no? So reminders lang yung wag na tayong aabot pa ng deadline, no? Kasi alam nyo, there was a time na may mga umiiyak, habol pa, sabi ko kaysa, hindi na kaya ng katawan, no? Kaya ng isip, pagbigyan, paano yung mga kliyente na nauna? So, unahin mo rin sila. Tsaka, hindi na talaga kaya ng powers. So, sana, habang may time pa, di pa masyadong marami, although nga ngayon, na kami, somewhat in a hurry na, kasi, pito yung approved na. So, plus yung mga regular pa na FS, no? Ilan pa lang yung natapos natin yung internal pa natin. Okay, so nagsabay-sabay. Kaya, reminder na lang doon sa mga pwede namang umpisan na para hindi na siya magka-clag pagdating ng deadline, no? So, with that, I would like to say thank you very much and let's call it a night.